Hello, and thank you for taking the time to review this short recording, which is all about information security. In the world that we live in, the information that we currently hold electronically, we're always going to be at risk from security breaches. The information that we hold is desirable and profitable for other people, and it's damaging for us if we allow them to allow people to get access to it. So what I wanted to do as an introduction to staff is to give some information about these types of breaches, how unscrupulous individuals will try and access our information, what types of malware they might use, and what we are doing as an organization to prevent that, and what you can do to help that process. So this video should not take us very long to get through. So I'll kick off. Essentially, what are the risks for us from outside of our business? And the main things that we hear about in the press quite often are malware, where hackers or computer programmers start to develop programs that are malicious in their intent, and then infect our computers with them to try and mine data or stop service, or access personal data or information about individuals within the company. So the point of malware is then obviously to cause disruption. And it could be that some types of malware are completed, or they're created, sent out there into the world just for the satisfaction of the individuals that created them, to see what havoc and mayhem that they can produce. The other side of that is that they're also created by people to make money. And some of those people are affiliated to organizations which fund terrorism and international organized crime, and those kinds of things. So from almost doing it for fun in a bedroom to doing it in a kind of on a factory sized scale. So those are the types of things that many businesses have to defend themselves against, and as individuals you should be defending yourself against them as well. So malware essentially that is downloaded through the internet can affect millions of computers in a very short space of time, and they can be adapted very quickly. So whatever patches or whatever programs are put in place, they need to adapt quickly to stop these kinds of things happening. And companies that you wouldn't expect to be susceptible quite often are, or can be, because of the way that these things are designed, and they can be changed so quickly. So a virus is one of the terms that we use quite often for computer code and malicious software, and clearly it has a biological origin. I won't go into that too much, but from a computer perspective, it is a piece of code that's capable of copying itself many times over, and that copying will have a massively detrimental effect. The processing power on the hard drive of a computer will be compromised. Everything will run really slowly, and as the virus expands and copies itself, it can then get into USBs and be transferred from one computer to another, or from one network to another network, and obviously through the internet, but inside local area networks in companies. And so it can corrupt files, stop you accessing information, and reduce the operating speed and effectiveness of computer systems. Couple of other types, worms, they're quite similar in a way to viruses. They will replicate themselves and spread between computers. They can cause damage across networks. They can, on the back of them, almost insert other types of malicious software, things like Trojans, for example. A Trojan is something which kind of piggybacks into a computer system, and as the term suggests, quite often they are being imported by a user, hidden away inside a legitimate piece of software, or what you might think is a legitimate piece of software, and as you override your firewall to download that piece of software, it piggybacks into that, and then gets into your system. Once into your system, it can hide away, and obviously it can be any variation of malicious software doing whatever it was programmed to do. And it doesn't matter how sophisticated your firewalls are, your anti-malware, antivirus protection software is, if you override it by downloading what you think is a legitimate piece of software, it will get there. It will get through. Rootkits. These are things that allow viruses to hide in plain sight. They disguise them as files in there that you might never notice is a particular bit of malicious software, but more importantly, your firewalls and your antivirus software won't see it either. And then it will allow somebody, for example, to take control of your computer system. There are things like keystroke loggers where they can send information back about which keystrokes you've typed in which order. And obviously at the start of a day, that could well be passwords. At any time of day, personal banking you might do, they're going to have that information as well. So some of them are quite sneaky, obviously, and quite sophisticated in what they might do. Logic bombs, these are types of programs that can hold businesses to ransom. It's not really necessarily a type of ransomware, which is something slightly different, but logic bombs will essentially be downloaded into a system. They can be done manually. Somebody can access your physical computer and download them, or they can be downloaded as a Trojan. And when a particular behavior or condition is met by you, that will go off, and it could destroy every Word document, shredding everything as it goes, every Excel, every Microsoft Office document. It could lock you out of things. It could continuously turn off your hard drive. It could make it run slower. It could activate the microphone. It could activate the webcams in laptops. You don't know what it's going to be. And people will make money by phoning you up and saying, you've got this logic bomb on your system now. And in fact, sometimes even doing nothing will set it off. So you really can't do a thing, and they may ask for payment. And there are companies out there that this will have happened to many times that we won't know about, who will have just paid the ransom and had their systems freed up, and then they'll afterwards put better measures in place to prevent it. Remote access Trojans. So these are, again, Trojans, programs which are downloaded by you without you knowing it when you're downloading something else, and they will give the end user, the other individuals, full access to your computers. So whatever computer system you have, whatever screen you can see, they can see as well, including, as I mentioned before, webcams. So they can steal all of our information, all of your personal information, all of the personal and sensitive data from our employers, learners. So a real threat to businesses as well as individuals. And they're commercially available, so people can go out and buy these. So you don't have to be a computer genius to make these programs. You can buy them and send them out there, and yeah, so they're a common threat. Other things which happen to large organizations, particularly with commercial websites where they're making money over the internet, is dedicated denial of service, or DDoS. So we'll essentially, I guess one example would be that they can bombard a website continuously with so much traffic that it can't function anymore. It's a bit like when ticket websites crash when tickets first go on sale for a popular concert or sporting event, and they'll crash, and they'll do that continuously until you pay money to have that done. And if you're the New York Stock Exchange or something like that, it's going to cost a lot of money if you don't do something about it. So the security that you need to prevent that is worth the money. Spear phishing is where we get into behavioral analysis, where programmers are starting to use human nature against us, essentially. So they will go to great lengths to make something look authentic. They might have information from you from a source. It might be a data leak somewhere, a data breach, or they may have found it from Facebook or something like that, and they will set up a skin or an email that looks exactly like an authentic email from, I don't know, Netflix or iTunes. Click here from the link in your email. You go to a site that looks just like a normal site, asks you to put your password in before changing your password, and obviously you're going straight to one of their websites. You've just put in your username, your password, and you've given that away to somebody else. So it's something that works best when they have some information from you already to work on. So how do we protect ourselves from this? Well, firstly, awareness and things like this are helpful, but your inability to follow things because of convenience. Oh, I found something, I'll just download it. It'll be easier than buying it, or be easier than finding it from a different site. That could be all the damage already caused right there. So we can put things in place. So here at CSR, we've got in our main office, we've got a Draytech router with inbuilt software for anti-intrusion and antivirus protection. It's the VDSL2 firewall, so I'm told. We also run Symantec endpoint assessment on all desktops and laptops in the organization. This particular endpoint protection system is constantly monitoring everything that you're doing in terms of accessing the internet, what's coming down, what's attacking our systems. And there is a desktop that is reviewed by the IT company that we have, and their dashboard will see each of the computers when it's online, when it's activated, and any threat to that system will be highlighted. They can contact us directly. We can have that shut down in a matter of minutes and try and reduce the effect if any breach to our systems actually has occurred. But hackers know that we're weak, and they will look to data mine anywhere from any source, and the obvious sources being Twitter, Facebook, Snapchat, any of those kinds of online profiles that we have. So it's important to make sure that you're aware of that when you're online. And actually, I've put in a link here. If you can't click it from the video, which you won't be able to, but if you click on YouTube and type in The Amazing Dave, look for one with a guy with kind of grey hair, silver hair, with no shoes or socks on in a tent. It's a bit hippie-ish, but he's a mind reader, and it's a very interesting 2 or 3 minute video. So I'd advise you to go and have a look at that. And then common sense. Don't download or open emails from an untrusted source. If you see something, you can use the system to scan it. Don't open attachments without scanning them. Don't insert USBs into our systems that aren't virus free. You can again run a virus check on those, and if anybody's not sure how to do these things, come and ask me, and we can show you how to do that. And for anybody that needs to have USBs, and it needs to have company information on it, whether it's presentations or whatever it might be, it won't be learner data. That won't come off our system. But if you need to, we can get you an encrypted USB stick. It'd just be safer in the long run if you're using one of those, and we'll make that mandatory. And try not to open any strange links and give out your details to anybody. We're also going to bring in, or will have brought in already, depending on when you're viewing this, forced password resets every 12 weeks or 90 days or so that we're changing those all the time. So that's just good practice to do that, and that's something that under GDPR regulations and data protection we need to be doing. Finally then, just a final thought. I know for a fact that I've got many emails in my inbox, and if I was to go to it now, it would be probably in the thousands. I won't do that and embarrass myself, but statistics are starting to suggest that about 1 in every 131 emails contains some sort of malware. So if you, after reviewing this, have a look in your inbox and see how many emails you actually have, and then work out how many of those may well contain malware, and that's only going to increase as it becomes more and more profitable for organizations to access data, to sell people's data, and to manipulate it and manipulate what we do. Okay, that's brilliant. Thank you very much for your time.